and YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. So now we're live, and let's see. Let me just get rid of this thing here, and we are going to record. I'm going to record it too. Okay. And we need.
Sure.
Let's see. Okay, there we go. And all right, we're recording. Oh, well, okay. There we go. I feel like Hal, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Recording in progress. Oh, hey, here's another person joining us. So, okay. So, welcome to The Way to Wow, People Making Money. I was talking to somebody earlier today about the show, and he said, "Yeah, I like that title." So he's someone I've known in the real estate business for 30 years. It's sort of the 30-year reunion, going on here. And for those of you who are looking at her and saying, you can't possibly have known her for 30 years. I met Kyra when she was like 8 or something like that. Right?
All right, if you want to believe that, but like I said, there's a lot of face cream, right?
A lot of face cream. Okay, well, we'll let her sort of believe that fiction. So just want to recap a little bit what we're doing here. So the idea for this show is to help you figure out what you want to do professionally. So another conversation I was having, I think it was last week, I was talking to someone who like me knows a lot of lawyers, and we were observing that almost every lawyer we know doesn't like being a lawyer. They want to do something else. And I think that for many of us, we spend a lot of time doing work we don't particularly enjoy doing. And that's a shame, since we spend so much of our time on our professional endeavors, or on our work endeavors anyway. And so this is an opportunity for us to meet with people who are doing remarkable work, remarkable in the sense that they really enjoy what they're doing. I think they're having a positive impact, not only on their families, but on a lot of other people. So for those of you who caught the first episode with my friend Jeff Morgan, he went from being a jazz musician to being a winemaker, right? And it was quite a journey. I encourage you to check that out. Last week, I did a solo episode because I wanted to talk about this idea of developing a unique value proposition. And the idea there, just to review for a moment, is in order to find a viable career that we can enjoy or love, we need to have 3 things. We need to know 3 things, I should say. One is we need to know what our skills, knowledge, and experience are. Okay, that's going to be a basis for whatever we do. If we have no skills, knowledge, or experience in it, we're probably not going to be able to do it. The second thing is we need to figure out what is it we really like to do. And that's not so easy. I've talked to many people over the years, and what they think they like to do and what they actually like to do are often very different. You put those 2 together, you can either have a great career or a really cool hobby. So you need the third element, and that is there has to be someone or a company willing to pay you for your skills, knowledge, and experience to do the things that you like to do, or to do the thing that you like to do. So those 3 together, that's your unique value proposition, your UVP. And the people that you will be able to listen to and interact with, if you want to join the meeting live or drop a question into the chat, are people who have done that. Whether they've done it consciously or not, who knows? But they certainly have found their way through that process. Okay, and my guest today is Kyra Storojev, and we were recounting just a few minutes ago. We've known each other for a long time. We met here in Los Angeles, although Kyra now lives in Colorado, outside of Denver, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Kyra started out her life, if you will, as an adult. She went to UCSB, which is interesting because I grew up in Santa Barbara, but I didn't know you then. She went to the University of California, Santa Barbara. She got a degree in political science. I'm not going to tell you when she graduated. It's a state secret. But then after that, she launched herself on her professional career. We met not long after that. I think you must have come to Los Angeles pretty soon after. So I wanted to start out by just asking you, how did you go from college graduate to what you're doing now, which you're actually doing several things now, but a lot of it involves investing of different types. And the primary one that we're here to talk about today is being involved in cryptocurrencies and foreign exchange. So how did you make that journey? Tell us about it. What were the steps? What were kind of the crucial thoughts you had, the pivotal moments?
Sure. Yeah. So when I graduated from UC Santa Barbara, I actually worked in Washington, D.C. for a while for educational nonprofit organizations. Enjoyed my time there. But I realized I'm a bit of an independent person. And so I really enjoy having my own flexibility and be able to create my own wealth. So after I moved from Washington, D.C., I worked for a company in sales. And it was kind of the precursor to all this technology that just sort of ballooned out, where I was able to work from my home. I traveled to 14 states. I was a regional sales manager for a company called Target Vision, where I sold and designed closed circuit television network systems. So I worked with very high level people in like big corporations. I had to have background checks and things like that. So but it allowed me a flexibility to be able to make my own schedule while working for a company. And I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed working with companies and understanding their needs financially too, because the systems that I helped to sell were supposed to be good to help their bottom line as well. Mm-hmm. And then fast forward a little bit is I met my husband and we have 3 children. And so when you have 3 young children, it is very hard to have a full-time job. And for me, I really felt like I wanted to continue a flexibility. So, and my husband is an entrepreneur and we have created several companies. So that's pretty much how we have been for a while now. And, some companies work, some companies don't work. And so what I realize is that when you're in that inflexibility sometimes of knowing if a company's going to do real well or not do real well, it's good to have also a passive income stream. And so that's one of the things that I decided and we decided together is that, it's smart to have a passive stream that is reliant. That you stay on top of, that you watch, as well as being able to have the flexibility of creating your own business. Mm-hmm. So that's basically the position that we're in now. I've always been interested in investing. In fact, when I was in high school, I remember my parents said to me, "What do you want for your birthday?" I'm like, "Well, I want some stock in MTV. That would be really great." And they just thought it was funny and really cute. But to be honest, if they had given me that stock at that time, it would have done very well. So when
you wanted your MTV, you actually wanted your MTV.
Yeah, exactly. Truly. Yeah. So right now, I've gotten into the crypto market. I started in 2017. And happened to have someone, give me a little tip on, hey, this is a rising thing. You might want to look into it. I did some research on it. I got into Coinbase, and that's basically like a place where you can buy and sell your cryptos. I got in right before the big leap where the Bitcoin really shot up in value and was on the news and everything. So in 1 month, I made like $20,000. It was really incredible. And wow. I just kept looking at it. And then I remember I was on the phone with a friend and it started to go down, And I'm looking at, I'm like losing all this money. And I said, oh my gosh, I got to get off the phone. I got to hurry up and I got to sell, So I definitely, it can be stressful, but you have to learn when to buy and when to sell and things like that. And so I also decided, well, we need to diversify because cryptos can be a bit volatile. It's a good investment for long term, for sure. And so we got into Forex trading. So a friend of ours who is a programmer said, hey, he's in this new program, and friends of his have created this bot, which is artificial intelligence for being able to do buy and sells and be able to monitor kind of where Forex, meaning foreign exchange, when two currencies are paired together to know when they're going to go up, when they're going to go down, when to buy, when to sell, and all that stuff. So it's been an interesting journey watching that. And that's definitely been a little bit more of a passive income stream that I don't have to monitor so much and know a whole lot about the foreign exchange industry, because technology has rise so much that now we have these bots to do buy and sells on cryptos, on foreign exchange, on stocks, like all sorts of things. So, I have to say with technology, there are more opportunities now actually to create an income stream.
So do you want to get into your presentation now?
Sure.
Okay, so let me bring that up on the screen share. And okay, so here you go.
Okay, great. Yes. So intro page, understanding cryptos and passive income streams. And the second page, if you just click to that, you could just click the slideshow at the button at the top. Farther right.
Farther
up at the bit next to the yellow button.
Oh, here.
To the right.
Okay.
More to the right. All the way to the right.
Oh, all the way to the right.
Yeah. All the way more to the right. All the way.
Oh, over here.
Yeah. Click slideshow.
The right that's actually on the right side of the screen.
Exactly. Okay. That way, you can just see the slide itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we got, here we go. Okay.
Okay. So anyway, so I thought this would be helpful because a lot of people say, hey, what is cryptocurrency? I've heard a lot about it. There are a lot of people already invested in it, and this is maybe just easy peasy for them. But basically, it's just a coin, or they call it a coin or a token, and it's a private digital currency. It's also now used to buy and sell goods and services. So there's you can get like hotel rooms in Las Vegas now with cryptocurrency.
Wow.
Yeah, you can travel. There's all sorts of ways that crypto market is coming into the general stream of the economy. So change the next one, please. So who runs it? It's basically created by individuals and companies. And obviously people who are really good at programming, it's very beneficial because, well, they can create a cryptocurrency. There's no banks involved in it, which is quite interesting. So when you open an account, it's up to you to keep track of your passcodes and your security codes. And this can be really difficult for sometimes for some people. Like I was helping somebody the other day to go into their account, and they said, oh my gosh, I can't find my transaction code. I was like, well, you can't get in or do anything unless you have the transaction code. And she's the only one that has that information. So, luckily she was able to create a new passcode and things. But all in all, that is like a piece of paper that you have to write down this information because you don't really want it electronically. So anybody could grab that information. You got to put it somewhere safe. So my husband and I actually have put it down on paper, and we each have copies. So that way, if anything happens to either one of us, somebody's can access that information and the money that's in there, because those are assets.
And do you keep that in a fireproof safe or something, or?
We do, and one copy is in a fireproof safe with birth certificates and things like that, and then the other one I just have in my office, so I can readily access it. If I'm like, I don't remember what that was, Yeah, but that's super important. And so anyway, there's no one company that owns all of like the crypto markets, anything. The only thing is that when you have large whales, they call them, like hedge funds and things, who do big buys and big sells, they kind of basically have control because they're changing the pricing because they're maybe doing a fast buy and then a fast sell. So they're basically pumping and dumping. So that's something you have to kind of, be thoughtful of. And that's where the artificial intelligence bots are really helpful and come into play. So you do the next one. So it basically, the background is it goes way back from 2008 by somebody. They believe it's an actual person, but we're not even sure if it's an actual person or a group of people. Satoshi Nakamoto. And, the price at that time was a lot lower than it is right now. And when I put this in there, it was valued at 63,000 a coin. It's now down to like 58, I believe. So it has had some fluctuation. The next one. So there's different kinds of cryptos. Majority of holders are in the Bitcoin. There's a lot of people that hold Bitcoin, but there's a lot of other ones. And here they are listed in this pie chart, but there's also things called altcoins, alternative coins, that are newer, lesser known, whatever. And those are really hot right now because those tend to go up in value super quick. Shiba Inu was an altcoin at one time, but now it's like a primary coin. But it went up 29 million% in 6 months. So anybody who invested in, and had the money to put in or invested in it, oh my gosh, they did super well in a really short period of time. The next one.
9 million. Oops. If you put $1 in it, you're set for life.
And that's what's happened to a lot of people. We have so many new millionaires from the crypto market that, and they keep reinvesting, and they did really well. I mean, particularly people who had Bitcoins way back, they've done super well. The guy who invented Ethereum, he lives up in Boulder, actually. He's completely set for life. It's just extraordinary. And sometimes, you look at these coins, you're like, oh, if I'd only known, you just bonk your head, just like, oh, I missed that opportunity. But I have to say, there's going to be more opportunities. It's going to happen, but you just got to keep your eye on the ball here, and you got to kind of keep track of what's coming up. So the popular ones right now are Ethereum's, Bitcoin, and Litecoin. So anyway, could you change the next one? So they're sold on exchanges, much like if you have like a Charles Schwab, Ameritrade. Well, they're the two is one now. But different brokerages that you have online, it's basically the same idea. And that's where you can buy and sell. You have to sign up with them, and you have to link your bank account. You've got to give, your ID information, like you have to give a copy of your driver's license or your passport so they know that it's actually you. And so the top ones are Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, Crypto.com, and Gemini. I don't know if you've seen, like, Crypto.com actually has its own coin, and they also now own the stadium in Los Angeles, or they sponsor it. So it's called Crypto.com. So yeah, and then they're bought and sold 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So unlike like the stock market or foreign exchange trades or anything like that, where you have to be like, oh, Friday, okay, everything stops, you have to wait a weekend, or no, this thing goes and goes and goes. It's just constant. You, in the middle of the night at 3 a.m., you could have an alert on your phone that says, oh, your Litecoin went up 5% or something. That can happen. You do the next one. So a crypto wallet is basically, it's a digital wallet. So it's a place where you hold and send your coins or tokens, like a bank account. It's basically an app that you download on your cell phone. And when you want to transfer, there are fees, the transaction fees. And there are a bunch of them, like Clever, Tron, Coinbase has its own wallet. They also are on desktop. Binance, same thing. A lot of them have app. You can be on your desktop as well as on your phone. or both, you know. The next one.
And so like I have a crypto.com account and my, you know, crypto, I mean, I just have some Dogecoin there. So that's still in essence in my brokerage account, right?
Mhm.
And then
Right.
I could move it to this crypto wallet that pulls it out of that account. And is there a reason to leave it in the exchange or put it in a wallet or?
You know, like Coinbase, for example, their wallet has more coins to choose from. So if you put it in your wallet, you can sell the Dogecoin that you have, and then buy like an altcoin that is not listed on your desktop. So that's, you know, and it's also convenient. So if you're out and about and you see the market's changing and you want to do a quick sell or quick buy, you know, it's very helpful to have it on your wallet.
Okay.
The next one. So some people have asked me, you know, is this secure? But actually it's super secure because it's using a blockchain technology. And blockchain basically records at all different of these points your transaction. So it's not like the transaction is recorded in just one spot. It's recorded in a whole bunch of spots. So it has to be verified that it's actual transaction, that it actually, that, you know, coin that you purchased is available. And that, yes, that's actually you that's buying it. And then it makes the match and then it verifies it. So sometimes when you actually try to buy and sell and it takes a little bit of time, it's because it's going through the blockchain. And miraculously, it is really at lightning speed, but there's some times where, you know, for one transaction, it took 10 minutes for it to arrive at a location. And that's because it's going through all of these places and it's going sometimes in batches. So
and when you
yeah.
say places, you're really talking about what, computer servers or?
Yeah, it's basically servers.
Okay.
Do the next one. So why are people using cryptos or the digital currency? Well, huge one, obviously, is to make an investment. And for some people, they make investment and make a lot of money on it, as you saw from the Shiba Inu. And also Bitcoin, you know, how they just went up, up, up. And also you definitely get a higher rate of return if you've made a good investment than your savings account. You know, a bank account really does not give you much, if at all, you know, barely any interest. It's good to have obviously savings, to have it tucked away. So, you know, you've got, you know, your emergency money or, you know, to pay your bills and all that stuff. But higher rate of return definitely is better for your money, especially with inflation. And then you have an option to buy stocks and bonds, and then you're in a worldwide trading platform, and then you can buy and sell using crypto. So there's a whole world that's opening up with the crypto market. I know right now it's a bit volatile, and I've been looking at my account like, oh my gosh, it's gone up, it's going down, you know, what's it doing? The holidays definitely make it more, I think, unstable because people are taking out money to buy presents or go on trips or whatever. And so I'm thinking that, you know, come this month and February, it's probably going to start to shift again and go up again. Okay, so accepting cryptos, it's really amazing how many companies are accepting it. So I did a little research on it and found like travel agencies, airlines like Cheap Air, hotels, coffee shops, phone companies, MasterCard is now accepting the cryptos for payment. El Salvador this summer declared Bitcoin as a legal payment in their country. So that's pretty huge, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's just going to keep growing, you know. You do the next one. And so how can they increase in value? Cryptos are all based on supply and demand. So each token or coin is created when there's only a certain number issued. So every coin or crypto has to have a finite number of coins that has been created. So that means that there's a supply and demand factor, right? So the higher the demand for the coin and it's, the supply affects it, then you're going to have a higher pricing on the coin. So that's why the pump and dump has been working for some investors. And so that's how it goes in this crypto world. We actually created a coin called Spades, and we issued 1 billion of them. And so when we started out, it was at 0.0033, and now it's at 0.008, I believe. So it's really gone up in value. And that's all based on the number of people buying it. And so there's a benefit to that for sure. It's just, you don't want to have, at least I don't like to have like the big fluctuations. But anyway, next.
Are you going to talk about what it means to mine cryptos?
I can. I mean, it's a business for people basically when they're miners. They actually have to purchase a lot of servers and put them somewhere. So they're actually looking in the system for coins that they can collect. I know a friend who did do mining, and he did it for a number of years for Bitcoin. And he said it actually became too expensive because the amount of energy that it took to do the mining did not equate to the amount of money he was making on it.
So when you're mining, you're not actually creating new coins then?
No, you can't. I mean, there's a finite number. So you're looking the system for the coins that are out there that you can grab, or a fraction of a coin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So what different crypto programs are there? So I'm in a bunch of different ones. Like I said, in Coinbase. I also have an account in Binance, and I don't use all of them. I just kind of have them, but I definitely use Coinbase because it's the easiest. But Coinbase now has different ones like Coinbase Pro, where the fees are less. And if you're a frequent person who buys and sells, then that's a good one to go on. And then Spades Community, which is our own actually community that we're going to be creating an exchange as well. But for now, it's a place where you can buy the spades and create a whole social profile and communicate with people and stuff. And then there's bees.social, which is an interesting one that people can look at, and another one called Hyperfun. So you do have to be careful which one that you're getting into and do your research. I think that's super important before you just kind of jump into them. And there's also NFTs, which, some people might know a lot about because there are more and more people who are adopting them. And even companies like Nike, they're creating their own NFTs for their own product lines, and they're selling the images, and, it's a whole different world, when you've got little bumblebees that are worth $10,000, little drawings. And that's how it works. The only chance that you take on that is it going to continue to have value? The more the NFTs are on the market, are they really going to hold their value? That's the big question I have. Then there's the metaverse, virtual land, real estate. There was just an article yesterday in the Wall Street Journal on this. It's just like a big booming thing. Like, people are buying real estate that's virtual. And similar to having actual physical land, it's going to change in value based on what's around it, what it's supported by, and all those things. And then there's staking pools, which you can basically get a percentage of your cryptocurrency. They'll just hold the value for you, and then you get a percentage, like an interest rate, like a dividend kind of thing. So not all of them have that available. Some do, some don't. It's kind of like the same thing with stocks. Some have dividend payouts and some don't.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the next one? Okay. So these are different kind of passive income investments that I like to work with, that I'm working with right now. Is one is actually called Hyperverse. It's been around for, I think, almost 2 years, and it pays 0.05% a day on your money over a window of time. So I put in $3,300 into Hyperverse about 6 months ago. And you can do this thing called a rebuy, where you're reinvesting the money that you get, but they call it a rebuy or membership basically. And so you gain extra money because they give you 200% of your money when you put it in. So anyway, my 3,300 now is worth like 17,000. So it's a steady stream of income. They have their own coins, they have their own exchange, they have their own credit cards, they're going to have gaming. I mean, it's a whole universe that they've created that I recommend, because I don't have to worry about a fluctuation in the market. You know, I just go in every day, check on it, see how it's doing, and then I can pull money out, you know, whatever has come in as what they call it, a reward from your money. And then you have to move it through to an exchange that they have called who.com. I call it the gift shop, because you have to go in their gift shop first in order to fully pull out your money. That's what it feels like, because they're like, oh, you could buy this coin, you could do this thing, you know, spend your money.
No, they don't want to let you go completely.
No, they don't want to let you go. They don't want it out. They don't want it out of the system. They want to keep it going. I mean, that's business, I guess, but you have to have like the fortitude to say, no, I need to get that washer and dryer, you know, I'm going to pull that money out.
Right. Daddy needs a new car.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly. You know, and now there's also like mutual funds that are basically based on crypto investments. And those are something to look at, that you can just buy on an exchange like Ameritrade, or, you know, just do some investment in that, because it's actually gone up in value. I've looked at them. They're doing very well. And then the other one is Forex trading using artificial intelligence, which, as I mentioned before, that's really fun to watch, because you get to see real time the trades that they're doing. And so it's kind of nice when you see, you know, your line item that says profit. And you're okay, cool. As long as it's making a profit, I'm not worried about it. But you have to do some research. There are so many bots out there and trading programs right now. The program that I'm in is closed right now. So I'm waiting for it to be open again for other people. We have our own like pool basically of people. So I actually asked if I could talk about the pool on the show, and they said in general terms I can, but I can't specifically say what company is or anything like that. But I did do some research online, and there are a number of different Forex trading programs with bots, and their reviews on them and everything. So I think, you know, it's worthy of looking into and putting some money in it. You know, I mean, it's definitely a great way to have passive income, especially since we've got this technology, you know, that really seems to be working, and they're improving it all the time. So, but you do have to watch out for like some of these companies, you know, they have to be legit and good reviews for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's the Spades Prosperity Program, which we created on our website. So, and that's basically, you know, a person buys $25 of a membership, and they get educational programs and different kind of like coupon kind of things. And then if they refer other people, they get a percentage of their $25, and then it just kind of goes from there. So it's really inexpensive, and it's just another way to make extra money. We go to the next one. So is it risky? Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some risk involved, like any investment. Even in stocks, you know, you're going to have risk. Cryptos can be volatile. So that's particularly pertaining to cryptos. I know I mentioned some other things in here. So, but on average, the cryptos have gone up about 300 to 500%, particularly when they're new. And it's just extraordinary. You know, if you look at like the charts and you see how much they have gone up in a year. I mean, if you look like in a week's time, sometimes it says it's gone down by 5%, but you just have to kind of look at some of these things as like long-term investments, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of like a Roth IRA. You know, you want to give it some time, at least a year, to put it into some of these. But you do have to do your research in terms of what cryptos are gonna be long-term, you know, because I don't know how long all of them are gonna last, because there's so many. There are over 10,000 of them now. There's a lot of cryptos.
Do you have any sense of how many new ones are coming out? I don't know, each day or each week, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many are coming out, because from what we're finding and being able to post on an exchange like Coinbase or Kraken or whatever, you have to pay money to post and list on the exchange. It's not like you apply and boom, it's on. You have to have at least 50,000 to list, plus you have to have the backing of all of the coins that have been sold already in case people want to sell suddenly. So you have to have a pool of money fund on the side, as well as money to put in. I think Coinbase, it's like a couple 100,000 to list too. I mean, it's
Okay.
You have to have money to make money, you know, if you want to get big.
Right.
For sure. But so it's good, I think, to have a diverse portfolio of different programs, including the crypto. And just, you know, you got to have a little bit of tough skin too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And not get emotional over it.
Yeah. Any investing, whether it's real estate or stocks or anything.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. What's the next one there? Yeah. And so the big question is, do you pay taxes on your earnings? So yeah, whenever you exchange it into your local currency, there's going to be, at the end of the year, you know, your information and what your earnings are and your losses are going to be sent to you from the brokerages, the exchanges. So like you get it from, you know, your stock brokerage account. We also are going to get it from your Coinbase account, your Kraken and all that, because there is some regulation with this industry. And that is one that they do have to send you that information. So their tax rates, I was looking at it, if you owned it for 365 days or less, then you pay short-term gains taxes, which are equal to income taxes. If you owned it for longer, then you pay long-term gains taxes. So good to talk to a tax accountant, you know, your accountant about, or look it up, you know, what's best for you.
Yeah, for sure. On anything like this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that's my information, you know, if you want to contact me, that's my cell phone, that's my email. And I'm happy to, you know, answer any more questions on this.
Yeah, that's good. So, I'm going to ask a couple of questions here. First off,
Okay.
so you mentioned when someone issues, you know, cryptocurrency, they have to have a certain amount of coins pre-sold before they can go on an exchange. Is that it? How does that work?
Well, they have to show actually that, yeah, you actually, when you go on exchange, you have to show that it's valid, that people are actually buying and selling it. So you do, it's kind of one step in front of the other before you can be listed on a big exchange. So you have to issue, it's not that there's a certain amount or percentage of the coins that have to be sold, but you just have to show there's a lot of activity.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so typically, how does an issuer create that activity before they're on an exchange?
Well, that's the tricky part. You have to know how to market it, you know, how to push it out, and send it to like groups of people, or sometimes you send it to your friends, you know, and you say, hey, I'm doing this thing. And that's what we did, you know, we sent it to all our friends, and then a whole bunch bought them, and then they told their friends about it. And then our next step is basically getting in with nonprofit groups and organizations, because they can use the platform as a way of communicating with each other as well. So there's a benefit there. And then we also are working with, for our example, that we're working with some different countries to be able to have community centers where people can actually have computers and do buy and sells. So it's great for people who are unbanked, who don't have bank accounts, and they can buy and sell using the currency that's established in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So we're basically creating like a microcosm.
So next question is, I mean, it used to be that what are called fiat currencies. So for example, the dollar,
Right.
the dollar is a fiat currency. So,
Right.
Decades ago, the dollar was backed up by gold reserves that were held at Fort Knox. And at least in theory, you could exchange a dollar for an equivalent amount of gold. And then I think it was in the 60s, we went off the gold standard, right? So now they say the dollar is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government, meaning it's backed by the government's ability to, I don't know, borrow money, right?
It's backed by your future labor.
Okay. So how does that compare to whatever it is that's backing up a cryptocurrency?
Yeah, that's a tricky part because, not all these currencies have a valid backing in terms of what they represent. A lot of the cryptos, they're involved in the whole thing of like blockchain technology. They're improving the technology. They're a piece of the wheel, basically, to make the wheels turn. So that gives them validity in terms of what the coin is based on, right? But not every coin has that. So it's a matter of what the creator chose it to be as a backing that would appeal to people. So yeah, it's not based on gold or anything like that, or your birth certificate, or, it's based on their participation in the whole system.
Okay. So you mentioned a couple of minutes ago that, for people who, for various reasons, don't have access to the banking system, cryptocurrencies give them an opportunity to participate in the broader financial system. Would you talk a little bit more about that? Because one of the topics that I've been reading about more and more, it seems like, is this whole sort of what's called disintermediation, right? The sort of pulling out of the middlemen from all kinds of different places, whether it's the financial system, insurance. All my life, if I wanted insurance, for the most part, I'd call up an insurance broker, and they would find an insurance company, and they would be the middleman, right? Mm-hmm. Now you can go directly to an insurance company in many cases. So, but up until now, money was handled by banks via the Federal Reserve System, right? So there's all these people, or not people really, institutions in essence, between me and my money. Right. But it seems like that's changing. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that's the dramatic shift that's happening. I mean, it's phenomenal shift. Going from, we were in industrial age to the information age. We're now in the virtual age. This is where things are virtual. It has scared the financial institutions, to be honest. It makes them nervous. Like, how could this change everything? I was just reading today that even a lot of the banks and the Wall Street financial institutions are so rattled that they have to do everything remote. Like, how can that be? How can you change what we've had and established that has to be face to face, with people? But all the workers are saying, no, we don't really need to be going to the office. We can do this at home. We don't have to commute an hour and a half by subway, bus, whatever, train to get into New York City, which my father did for many years. Mm-hmm. And so it's changing the whole structure financially. I know that, the US government the federal government, obviously Congress, is trying to find ways to harness this, to tax it, so they can get the revenue stream from people who are making lots of money from this. So it's in motion. Like, I don't know how it's all gonna play itself out, but there's new jobs being created. More people can work from home. More people can create a passive income than ever before. There's a lot of empowerment, I think, for the individual in this age of technology. So that can definitely be a positive thing. And I think people who are in these jobs that are the middle people probably have to be super aware of the potential for their jobs to really change, to maybe no longer exist, and to just recreate themselves, and that is totally possible, to recreate yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I know, during my professional life, when I started out, when you wanted to make travel arrangements, you went to a travel agent. Now, I mean, there are still travel agents around, I think, but for the most part, I haven't used a travel agent in probably 20 years.
Yeah.
It's that business is almost gone, it seems like.
Well, my mother actually owned a travel agency. It's funny you say that. And, towards the end of her time having a travel agency, right when she was going to retire, basically, it all changed. It was practically overnight. I mean, it was all of a sudden she got calls from the cruise lines, the airlines, and said, well, we really don't need you anymore. There's this new online website that we're really wanting people to go to. So we're cutting your commissions. We're not going to give you these fam trips, all these benefits. That's all changing. I mean, it happens. I remember it's happened so fast. My mother thought, oh my gosh, what's happening to my whole world?
Yeah.
It's completely changed, and there was no turning back at that point.
No, I mean, I don't think there is either for the financial system. This is inevitable, whether it's, how it may get regulated. Who doesn't seem like we really know yet. I think there's lots of talk about that going on right now. And that will probably have it undoubtedly will have some impact on it, but I don't see it stopping it. The genie can't be put back in the bottle, to use the old cliche, right?
Absolutely. It can't. No, this is a new world coming in here. And to be honest, our inflation is so high right now that people are needing to create a secondary income or additional passive income stream just to keep up with the price of food, cars, homes, the whole thing, and it's just, I feel like sometimes it's going so fast, it's like, really, I just went to the grocery store, it changed in price already, for my orange is $1.50 for an orange.
Crazy.
That was not that way, I'm sure, a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure I did not pay $1.50 for an orange.
Yeah. California probably raised the price of oranges. So
yeah. So anyway, I'm glad you're having this show, because I really feel like this is really important for people to get a better understanding of how can they empower themselves in this information age? Like, where are the opportunities? And there are definitely a lot of opportunities. And you just have to be careful. That's,
so that's a great.
You got to ask around. Did you use this program? Does it work for you? Read the reviews, do your research.
So, and that's a perfect segue to my next question. If someone really wants to get involved with cryptocurrencies or even Forex, some of the, these investments that you've been talking about this afternoon. So what would you estimate is the kind of, let's say, weekly time commitment that it would take in terms of doing research, making the investments, following them, so that, the person can be, have a sense that they're being, reasonably prudent and they're being a good steward of, their resources, or maybe their family's resources, right? Because in the end, we all work hard for what we earn. I don't think there's anybody out there. I've been looking for that job where I can lay in bed, read, and eat bonbons and get paid. I haven't found that job yet, right? So we work hard for the income that we get, and we need to be, good stewards of it. So, What can you give a sense of what you think it really takes?
I honestly do a couple hours a day.
Okay.
I would say at least an hour a day, during the week. You don't really have to on the weekend unless you really want to do it. But I would say at least an hour a day, 5 days a week is probably a good amount to do some research, or if you have something that you're working on and you already have investments, to monitor it. And it doesn't mean like one solid chunk of an hour. It can be spread out, 10 minutes, you're going into your Coinbase, making sure everything's okay, nothing's diving, whatever. Or if you want to buy something, you heard something hot, you want to buy. I belong to a Facebook group it's for women only. I'm sorry. But it's all about cryptos and stocks. And there's 15,000 members on this thing. And I've learned so much from these ladies. And they're extraordinary. Some of them are extraordinary investors. Some of them like read charts and they post them and things like that. And they talk about great investments or IRAs or whatever. And I have to say that's a really good thing to do too. If you're going to put time into this, is actually be educated with other people who are doing this, have some experience. If you can get some mentors, that's always really good. People who've been in the game for a little longer.
For the female viewers, can you mention the name of the group or?
Yeah, it's a women only. Let me see here. It's on Facebook, and I can always send the link. But it's called Women Only Stocks and Crypto for Beginners. Actually, there's 27,000 members now.
Wow.
Yeah, it keeps growing every day. People ask questions. They post like, what do you think I should buy? Things like that. And they get great responses. And so I highly recommend it. I can send an invite to anybody who's interested too. But again, it's Women Only Stocks and Crypto for Beginners on Facebook.
Okay. I'm going to turn around here for a minute. I just wanted to see if there's any questions coming in on the chat from Restream. So hang on one sec here. Let's see.
Okay.
Go. Of course, the wheel of death. Okay.
People might have questions later too,
Yeah.
if they see it, the recording of it.
I don't see any questions right at the moment. Bob, do you have a question since you're on the meeting live with us? See if he responds. No? Okay.
You asked a lot of good questions, Kevin.
Thank you. So, want to let everybody know that once the meeting concludes, so it will automatically upload to all of the places where it's streaming: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And if you want to review it, please feel free to do so on any of those. Although ideally, if you would go to my Facebook channel, my YouTube channel, The Way to Wow. You can just search on YouTube, The Way to Wow, Kevin Bemmel, and you'll find the channel. If you'd subscribe, that would be terrific. I'd appreciate it. And that way you can see all the upcoming shows. And if you have a question, oh, here we go. Here's a question in the chat. Okay. Oh, sorry, too much background noise here. Okay. Okay, so Bob, he muted himself. There's too much background noise. So if you do have a question for Kyra, feel free to post it on any of the social media. I would recommend you tag her so that way she'll know that you've asked the question. And I've known Kyra long enough to know she will be happy to answer your questions. And you have her contact information here as well. So, don't hesitate to give her a call, send her a text message. I do ask you to be polite. And gentlemen, no knock on you. Kyra is married and has children. She's not available for dating. So.
Okay. Thank Thanks for the clarification.
We'll deal with that right up front, you know. Then last thing before we go, just want to let you know, we do this every Wednesday, 12:30 Pacific time, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, all the other time zones in between or at other places in the world if you're somewhere else. And next week, I'll be talking with Captain Mark Brooker. So Mark is a Navy colleague of mine. He he is a pharmacist, actually. He had a terrific Navy career. And then post-Navy, he really started delving even more deeply into leadership. And he has created a career, post-military career for himself in writing books on leadership and in traveling around the world training leadership. So I'm sure you can appreciate the last year or so, or year and a half, he hasn't been doing so much international travel because of COVID. But I understand that the travel is starting up again. And so, for those of you who have a subject about which you're passionate and you're thinking you might like to turn that into a career, I invite you, I encourage you to watch next week and come on the meeting, talk to Mark. He will be, again, like Kyra, more than happy to answer your questions. And so Kyra, thank you so much for coming and talking about this. It was really great learning about crypto. I learned a lot. I've been trying to, figure all of this out. And you certainly filled in a lot of the gaps in my knowledge, and really, inspired me. I think I need to dig into this a little bit more. Like I said, I have the one investment in Dogecoin. I made it because my next door neighbor insisted. He said, you have to buy some of this. Yeah, and I bought it at just fractions of a cent, and then. Like all of them, it was going up and down and up and down. And my attitude was kind of, I don't care. I'm going to hold on to it for however long. And then my next door neighbor said, so he went so far as to give me the money to make the initial investment. He wanted me to do it so badly. So I'm like, well, okay, I can't lose. So then he wanted his money back. So I said, okay. So I sold enough to pay him back his money. I had also bought I had put in another, I think, $1,000 or whatever it was. So I just sold enough to pull out my cash. And now I just have my profit sitting in there. And it goes up and down. At one time, I think it was up at about, I don't know, $8,000 or something. It's not there anymore. I'm actually not sure where it is because crypto.com wants me to do two-step authentication and it won't let me do it. So I don't know, I have to figure something out there just to find it. So
you know how to do that?
I've tried to go through the process 3 times and it keeps telling me I'm doing it wrong. So I'm not sure what
I should help you with that later because you want to have access to your account. Yeah,
for sure I do. So but it's all a learning process. And I can tell you from my early days in business, in the real estate business, this is going back to the mid 1980s, which is around the time you and I met, I believe. Well, I guess we met probably a few years after that.
Yeah, early 90s, I think.
Yeah, early 90s. So, I missed out on a lot of opportunities in my early real estate days, and I made some bad moves that cost me some money. And, when that would happen, I'd look up what the cost of a year at the Wharton Business School was, and I'd figure out whatever the percentage was. And I'd say, okay, well, that just cost me, 15% of the price of a year at the Wharton Business School. And, probably as good an education actually doing things in the real world as it would have been, going to business school. So I think I share that philosophy with all of you because, we're going to make mistakes. Sometimes we're going to lose some money, and it can get emotionally difficult. And, if you have a spouse or someone, to whom you're responsible financially, they might want to kind of get on your case about that. And so I think that we need to develop a little bit of a mindset. Okay, what am I really doing? What is this really all about? And in the early days, I encourage you to think of it as getting an education. And as you know, most good education doesn't come free. And so if you make mistakes, so all right, so you bought yourself, a semester at the Wharton School. Probably one of the wisest investments you'll ever make. It's an investment in yourself, and an investment that you'll be able to take advantage of for a long, long time to come. So Kyra, thank you again. I'm just going to give you the last word here before we sign off. Any sort of closing thoughts or remarks?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a world of opportunity out there. And, I'm just so happy to be here on the show with you to share some of the things that I know. And obviously there's even more out there. So, I hope everybody gets an opportunity to do some research and find out more about what works for them.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop the screen share here and okay, let's see. Stop recording, right? There you go. Okay, and I'm also so for all of you on streaming, thank you so much for joining us.